Okay, this is part 2 of our jewelweed videos. The first time we did a jewelweed video, the jewelweed was about that big. So we wanted to do one at a very different stage because it offers a lot of different gifts at this stage. All the things we said in part 1 of our jewelweed video, and look that up if you're curious, applies to this as far as it being used as skin lotion. I think I mentioned being able to chop it up and boil it. I usually fill a pot where I'll chop up some of these and put them about, I don't know, maybe a quarter deep in a pot, fill it up with water and boil it until it's halfway down, until it turns like an orange brownish color. And that tea you can freeze into ice cubes and keep in your freezer anytime you want jewelweed. But at this stage, you can do that as well, but it's gotten much taller. Jewelweed can get like over my head. I've seen it that tall. This is a pretty typical, ooh, take a look at this, Teresa. If you can like get this bumblebee, or, yeah, so this bee is pollinating the flowers right now. And we're doing this video in this area particularly at this time of year because it's got both the orange flowers and the yellow flowers right beside of each other. So Teresa, if you can get any close-ups of like an orange flower and a yellow flower, because they're really beautiful, and at least right here, the orange flowers are smaller than the yellow flowers. I've never really tuned in on that to see if that's typical across the board.
Ooh, and look at that water beading off of the leaf.
Yeah, so like I showed in the first video, I don't have any water to dip the leaf in, but take a look at that first video. One of the characteristics of jewelweed is that water will bead up on it, and when you put it upside down, especially upside down, I mean when you put it in the water, the leaf especially upside down, the leaf looks really beautiful, like mercury or sterling silver. And you can just see that this is like feeding and helping a lot of insects. There's little gnats flying around here. There's bees of some kind pollinating these flowers. There's little June bugs that are eating the leaves, Japanese beetles. But one of my favorite things about jewelweed at this stage, and I've been waiting for this stage, is this is my favorite time when it's edible. You can eat jewelweed when it's about 6 inches tall. If you change the water a couple times, like boil it, pour out the water, boil it, pour out the water. I usually don't go through all that trouble, but it is a pretty good tasting pot herb, steamed herb. But what I use this for is I will find a seed. Here's a nice fat one. And I'll just pop one so you can see it, to see what it does. This is why it's called Touch Me Not. Because at a certain time of year, if you handle the seed...
This one's lazy.
And apparently jewelweed likes to like make people look ridiculous. So let's try that again. We know that some of these do it because, whoop, there goes one. It explodes. So one of the seeds just popped out in my hand, and these seeds are edible, whether they're green or darker like this. And this is one of the rare sources of protein in the plant world. So you can nibble these and actually get protein. And protein, anybody who's done survival knows can be hard to come by, a lot harder than all the nutrition that plants offer. So this is a real bounty when you find jewelweed. The way I collect the seeds, rather than just have them explode everywhere, is I'll cut my hand around them before I actually touch them. I'll try to jostle them, and not all these are ready. Sometimes you'll go to a jewelweed plant and every single one will explode.
And that's a good reminder of, like, don't take what isn't given to you.
Yeah, and here's one. Let's try this one. Oh, and I love asking somebody, can you like hand me that seed, and like don't tell them what it's gonna do, and like they'll feel it like move in their hand and scare them. But it's really beautiful the way it pops open. These things just like curl up and the seeds come out. And usually, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 seeds.
Yeah.
But here's the green ones. The last one I got, you may have seen, was dark. So the green one's here. And protein. It tastes kind of like a green bean to me. So if you're out in the woods and you're looking for food, this is a pretty good expenditure of your time just to gather some of these and get some protein in your body, work up some energy, and then see what you're going to do next. But yeah, that's jewelweed, and it's one of my favorite plants, both edible and medicinal. It's got a lot of unique things it offers. Is there anything you want to add, Teresa?
Right now we are at a rest area in southwestern New York State. We've seen jewelweed pretty much throughout our journey up the East Coast. In the mountains of North Carolina, you'll find it growing along trails where you might not even see any water. Usually we see it around a source of water, but you'd be surprised where it can grow, especially in higher elevations. And it will grow in thick tribes, sometimes intermixed with poison ivy, so you got to be careful. But remember, from the first video, we talked about jewelweed being helpful, not for stupidity, but for helping with poison ivy or other skin irritations.
And one thing I want to show real quick, if you look here, you can see the stages. Here's a full flower, a flower that got pollinated, so its ovary is growing. Right here, you can still see it looks sort of like a flower. And then it's looking more like a seed, but it's still round, so it's not going to do what I just showed you. It's not offering that protein yet. It's when it elongates like this that you start maybe getting into, that you can start asking and see which one of these offers protein.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. And if you're a teacher, this is such a fun thing to show kids, like both that the seeds explode like that. It's such a common plant. You probably have some near you. I've seen it all over the country. Wow, we were like popping these things before the video.
We got all the ones that were good. Oh man.
Whoop.
Oh, there it goes.
There goes one.
Yay.
It pops right off, and that's how it spreads. It shoots its seeds away, because one place a seed doesn't want to be is right under its parent. Doesn't want to compete with its parent, so it's a really cool strategy for dispersing its young. And yeah, like Teresa said, we're in Western New York, which is beautiful, but largely smells literally like poop. But yeah, jewelweed. Thank you, jewelweed.
Beautiful.